Hey guys, and welcome to Smells Like Teen Angst. I'm Sarah, and I am here with my cohorts to talk about the latest episode of I Know What You Did Last Summer, episode 6. At least you have a spare. That was brutal. Huzzah! And as always, I am here with the amazing Kiki and Jordan. Riverdale is still on hiatus, so we took on I Know What You Did Last Summer. Real quick, ladies, introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Kiki. I'm sorry I was talking at the same time as Sarah, but hopefully she didn't notice.
Jordan. Introduce yourself, Jordan. Say hi real quick.
Jordan. You can find me at Lambertra. Oh, that's the first time I've messed it up in a week, you guys.
I'm really proud of you, though, for trying. It was good. It was good. The Mothman likes to go for Jordan's internet, so we're going to try our bestest to get through this and have her beautiful face join us for the conversation. So let's first, this episode started. It opens on the bloody machete and the crying that we had from last episode. And then it's like flashback 12 hours earlier. But I'm going to start us off with even more of a flashback to the party because this flashback was pointless. Right?
I mean, it was basically all the pieces we've already seen just strung all together. And that's okay. You know, sometimes we run out of footage and we got to make episode times. And, you know, that's what they did. And maybe they were just like, for a person who's hopping in and has not watched any of it, get on in. This will happen.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't get it. They're like, here, let's show them walking up to where we meet Lennon. Let's show them walking up, to go to the bouncy house. Let's have Riley confess her love to Dylan, which we all have known that she's been madly in love with him and mad at the fact that, he's not in love with her and he's in love with Allison.
I mean, but what a bad choice, right? I think Riley is so cute, but...
She's so cute.
She's got Euphoria vibes. And, Allison and Lennon are just so basic.
Super basic. And what about Margot and her super jealousy just because Riley is dancing with Lennon? Girl needs to calm down with her crazy jealousiness.
Yeah, but it also is another taste into the idea that the Lennon and Margot relationship, that's her major jealousy, a little more insight into what Allison may not have known. Maybe Lennon and Margot had a much more serious relationship than she kind of had idea on.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think they did. I think it was that's why Margot's so jealous, because it was so whimsy. Margot's in love with Lennon. Lennon's not necessarily in love with Margot, but who knows?
What I missed?
So what did you miss? We're just discussing the pointless flashback. So what is your thoughts on this nonsense?
We saw almost everything in this flashback earlier, so it felt really useless. There were only 2 sentences that were new information. One, Margot being super jealous, which her whole relationship with Lennon is...
And is that even new information? We know she's overly jealous.
Yeah, we know that she's super in love with Lennon. We know that she won't come to terms with it, so this is not new information. Then just the one sentence in the bounce house about Riley being crazy about Dylan, which I think we all kind of knew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So none of this was new. It was very useless in terms of flashback. And it really, I feel like my girl Riley got done dirty because we really could have I don't know, done this wasn't even about her. None of this was about her, but it was her episode, and these were her
and such terrible flashbacks. I think maybe when we get there, we'll talk about it. But I feel like maybe it was just to drive something else home. But otherwise, it was really kind of lame. I want to dive real quick, fast forward to what I've dubbed dad secrets. So we know Lennon / Allison now knows that her dad was married to Clara. And now like all the information that we've learned as an audience is now getting like regurgitated on to her and onto him. So they have this conversation of all the info that we already know. And we now know like the spiders are Clara's because the dad goes to confront Clara about the spiders. And then he's like, have you seen Riley? So I was like, oh, maybe the dad, it's not him. But then we have like the man from the photos, what's his name? Fred Phillips, who was like the best man. And Lennon has been corresponding with him. But we do get the biggest kicker that we have all been like talking about and floating around is that the mom left them and is alive.
So now I'm going back to my original theory. Sorry, guys. I knew that I was putting the pieces together and we thought it was Clara. I'm going backwards. Clara's too obvious. I'm going back to my theory that it's someone we haven't met yet. They're still alive mother. Because, of course, their mom, even if she abandoned them, she would come back home for their graduation from high school.
You think? Like hiding in the corner?
Exactly. Yeah, I think she was hiding in the corner somewhere. She's somewhere in the crowd. She was there. Then she saw that one of the daughters killed the other daughter, and then she was upset about it. And so now she's just wreaking havoc on the whole town.
I mean, I don't necessarily disagree. Like, it could be a whole cult issue. Kiki, you look like you got thoughts.
No, I think that's a really good theory. I mean, I'm just running with what we've been given so far. And, you know, I said Claire's a suspect, the dad's a suspect, Dylan is a suspect. And this episode definitely gave me the Dylan juice that I needed. Dylan is a part of this.
We're not to Dylan. You hush yourself. We're not talking about Dylan yet. We're only talking about Daddy.
Whatever. Move on.
Like, we can't just dive into things. We're not there yet, ma'am. Otherwise, people don't watch. Just kidding. But can we just take a moment, like, when her father came to Margot's, and one, she couldn't slam the door because the door is too heavy. My parents, like, if I was at a friend's house and something went down, unless it was abuse of some kind, they never would have just like backed it up and be like, no, you can't talk to her. They would have invited them in and had like a supervised conversation.
The fact that the dad just took that to me, like, I don't know. That was a little.
I mean,
sus.
That's not how my family worked. Again, unless it was like abuse of some kind. But it was just like a family argument and she left the house, you know?
Yeah. I mean, but my little sister once got like super mad at my mom her senior year and ran away to like my best friend from high school's house. And like my mom was calling all her friends for like 48 hours and knew that she was still going to school, but didn't know where she was staying. And she was staying at my best friend's house. And like her parents were keeping the secret. And I was just like, that's stupid.
Yeah. Like, how would they feel if that happened with their daughter and someone wasn't telling them? Weird.
I'm just saying that there are bad parents out there because her parents kept that secret, you know?
Like, fair enough. Bad parents. Don't just, like, unless they're being hit or abused or were kicked out, then maybe, but not just like a basic family squabble. Doesn't make sense. So, big mom drop, the spiders, blah. So now let's dive into the team. So when we left off the crew, last episode, everyone was dispersing. And as you said, Jordan, this was Riley's episode. So everyone's getting home. We see Riley run from the shotgun, from the machete, from a man in boots. And she texts everyone and she's like, I'm out. So everyone thinks she's safe. And then here comes the black truck. I know.
I'm just saying Dylan drives a black truck.
Does he drive a black truck or is it Clara's black truck? Sorry, Jordan, I spoke over you.
This whole sequence of events was so stressful. Like, I haven't been this stressed out watching TV since Squid Game.
Girl, you aren't wrong. The whole thing, the chase of the truck through the woods. I'm like, girl, you got to get through the trees. You got to get so the car can't continue going with you. And then she gets shanked through the guts. Is that where we're going? The chest? The center chest?
I was very confused about, I mean, not to spoiler alert, but I was confused about how she didn't bleed out sooner.
I mean, to be fair, this is a spoiler discussion, so we don't need to give an alert. If you're here, you watched the
right.
episode.
Well, okay, yeah, so she dies by the end of the episode, right, y'all? But I thought it would have happened a lot sooner. I mean, I've never taken a machete to the chest, but I feel like you would bleed out.
Yeah, a machete to the chest and a missing arm. That's a lot of blood for her to last 24 hours. I know. Kiki disagrees. We were sitting on the couch and she's like, yeah, it makes total sense.
Because, like they said, there was that woman who got her arms freaking cut off and raped and was left in a ditch, and she lived. Like, her arms were cut off. Her legs were cut off.
Her legs were not cut off.
About that because it is intense.
It's super intense. I listened to that MFM episode too. She didn't lose her legs, just her arms. That's what
I know. I was just like, I was joking about like a TikTok. There's a TikTok where they're like, what people think I'm listening to, what I'm really listening to. And it's like, her arms were cut off, her legs were cut off. And I'm like, yeah, probably.
Yeah, but I don't think that girl was missing for 24 hours. She climbed up and was able to go. Like, I don't know. The body is weird. The body's a loophole, but so is Allison being so well preserved after a year. Which brings me to Clara and Dylan. Almost
being
not
involved
yet.
In this.
Like, not yet. That's the ending. There's so much to talk about with this. Like the mom's death, like, and the cops who don't give a shit when the first 48 hours are the most important.
Because they're so stuck on the spiders. Like,
right.
That's their biggest lead. So they're like, if we find the spiders, we can find everything. And I kind of get that because like invasive ecological things are kind of like a big deal in Hawaii. And there's a team that deals with that can look it up. But like, it's like a kind of like a contact tracing thing. But they should at least put an APB out on the child after so many kids have died and other people have died. That's kind of an issue. And like I've said, like the island would be on lockdown if this many people died and the killer was still like at large. So I'm still standing by this is unrealistic because it's a little too much freedom on the island right now.
Yeah. I was just like, first 48, there's a whole show about it. Jordan, go ahead. I see you got thoughts.
I was going to say, Claire's no longer a suspect to me. It's just too obvious. The spiders and then the end scene, it's too obvious. They want us to think it's her. It's not her.
Yeah. I mean, I don't necessarily disagree. Can we talk about Dawn's death? The mom, when she goes to find her daughter and finds her phone and then picks it up and it's booby trapped like that.
It leaves behind that someone has to have some type of skill.
Yeah. Like when I say I gasped, like jaw dropped, like holy shit, that was such a brutal death and a brutal moment.
I couldn't look. I'm not going to lie. Like it started and I was like, oh, I know where this is going and I don't want to see it.
Yeah. It was.
I was just surprised her head didn't like full get cut off.
Yeah.
But I was like.
Yes, I can admit that she's a trash person if she was a real person. But as a fictional TV character, I loved her and I'm upset.
Yeah, we didn't get to know much more about her. Just, she's a bad mom. She works odd jobs.
It got a little classist stereotype. Just this much.
It did, but because this is Riley's episode and it's Riley's mom, it like makes sense because we didn't know shit about Riley either.
Right.
And we still don't because the flashback gave us nothing.
Mm-mm.
I know. That death, I think, was probably the most brutal one, in my opinion. Like, I know Johnny got beheaded, but we didn't see it happen. And this is the first time we saw, like, such a brutal, brutal death. And yes, Riley's arm got cut off. You know?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's how I feel.
I'm desensitized from watching all the TikToks of like cakes that look like arms and people like cutting them.
Is it butter? Is it cake?
Is it cake or is it an actual arm? Like,
those are good. I like those. Okay, Kiki. And then to end Riley's little nugget, because again, this is her episode. The poor girl dies wiggling her way to a house. And she can hear them laughing and hear a family, but she doesn't make it.
Yeah, she dies in front of what she never had.
Like, if you want to just make it more tragic.
I know. It was really sad. I feel bad for my girl Riley. Dylan.
Done dirty. Now, Kiki,
Riley
your
got done
dream.
dirty.
This is where you've been trying to get to this whole conversation.
The
Take
whole
it away.
time, Dylan. Told you guys Dylan was involved in this shit. He's been involved with the goats and everything, Clara and everything. Dylan is involved. And what do we see? Dylan carving yet another name into the cave, following a rat. And I'm like, oh, he's following a rat. New discovery. And lo and behold, here is freaking Clara dragging in a body. And my issue is, Dylan did not look shaken one bit. He looked like he knew she was about to be in there. And she did not seem to have an issue with him being there. They're in cahoots. Mic drop.
I think Clara and Dylan are too obvious. I do think the whole thing is super sketchy. I don't know why Dylan has taken it upon himself to be the one who puts the names in the walls. He did seem surprised by being in a room of all these animals preserved in honey, which maybe is the whole preservation honey thing that you were talking about last week, Jordan. But Clara coming in, I don't think they didn't show him being like, but we've never seen Dylan. He doesn't, because, you know, the boy is he's a little weird. You know, I don't like using that word, but he's a little off in general. I don't know, Jordan,
Because
you
he's
also,
spectrumy.
you shook your head, yes, that you also don't think it's Dylan and Clara. It's too obvious.
I don't think. No, it's too obvious. And I want to say that I trust the writers of the show, but I low key don't because they did Riley so dirty. I trusted them up until this week, and I think that they wouldn't give us something that obvious. I do think it's all going to tie together. I do think the honey is significant, but again, Clara was part of the cult, and who else was part of the cult? Lennon and Allison's mom,
Who is still alive.
who's still alive, so she could know about the honey cave too. I don't know. I don't think it's Dylan and Clara. I'm going with the mom for now.
And Daddy is still full of secrets, even though we've gotten a little bit from him. We know Allison knew more, or Lennon knew more, but you know, Allison, whatever. We know Lennon knew more than we know, and that Allison knew. And he's not just going to straight up confess everything to Allison, who is being Lennon now, because she caught like a picture.
Right. I don't know. Like, the whole thing is still so sketchy, and I still have a ton of questions. And I don't know, Dylan, is he a part of it? Is he not a part of it? Is he maybe just like a weird part of the culty side of things, and he's like with friends with Clara? For the flashback, what I was going to talk about was her confessing her love. So let's say it is Dylan, and Dylan is the one who shanked Riley and tried to run her down with a truck. That makes it even more sad because they're supposed to be best friends since they were 2 years old, and she's in love with him and still in love with him. So maybe that was the emphasis they were trying to make.
Can we also really quickly talk about, because this reminded me of something, how Alice and Lennon's story is starting to unravel? I think they're planting the seeds for that. Because
absolutely,
twice in this episode, they called her on like, oh, what do you talk? Like, twice this episode, she fucked up when she was talking to Dylan.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't remember her valedictorian speech. And then also she brought up a story that Allison would have known because Allison paid attention to Dylan. And Allison would have known that Dylan was a simp, but Lennon never would have known that.
Yeah.
And Dylan was straight up like, I didn't even think that you recognized me back then, blah, 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 blah. So I definitely think that they're laying the seeds for her story to come apart.
Yeah, I mean, when she had her full-on conversation talking about those specifics in front of Margot's house, I was like, you're telling me Margot's house doesn't have like a crazy-ass security system with like good camera, good audio, where she's like literally in the house like, well, I just want to hear what their conversation is. Because Margot seems hella nosy. So clearly, like, the jig's going to be up pretty soon for this Lennon and Allison thing. And I think the next kill will determine who is an actual suspect. And I think to throw us off, it might be Dylan. We'll see.
I know Kiki's like, it's Dylan. It is Dylan. It is. I put my firstborn child on Dylan. Like that's her.
I don't put my firstborn child on Dylan, but I just always had this feeling that he was too creepy to be in this circle, and that's why. And then the writers are just throwing me breadcrumbs to this kid. So the smart writing thing to do would be to kill him the next episode.
Yeah,
just saying.
I don't disagree. If they want to be like, it's not him, absolutely. And like Margot's jealousy may work in her favor because she's like, who throws their phone in the water unless they're trying to hide something? And initially you're like, it's because Margot's overly jealous and kind of crazy. And then you're like, oh, is Dylan trying to hide something by throwing his phone in the water?
He's the one who texted them to come there, and that was the drop location.
Right. I don't know, there's a lot of pieces, a lot of puzzles. I don't want to accept what's right in my face because I will be disappointed. I think that's why I refuse to believe it's Clara and Dylan, because they were so like sus from the beginning, you know? We've only got, I believe, 2 more episodes of the show. I believe this is 2 episodes left. So they got to start wrapping some stuff up. Next episode, I expect some linen, like clothes, Lennon, Allison, drama, unravel. I feel like also with like the conversation she had with her dad, she can just be like, fuck this. I'm telling everyone the truth. And I would love that next episode. Yeah.
I don't know. I also feel sketchy about the cop, but
the female cop or like the fun cop?
Not
I mean,
the
they're
fun one.
They're both female cops, but you know, like,
not auntie. I feel sketched about the one he's fucking.
Okay, interesting. I don't know, Jordan.
She's kind of sketchy. She could be sketchy
for sure. All right, ladies, do you have any other final thoughts about this episode? Because I thought it was actually pretty good. We got a lot of nuggets. We got a really like terrifying deaths, and I'm like, whoa.
It was a good one, especially coming off of it last week, where I thought that last week was kind of a filler. This was a good one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We've moved forward a little bit, even if we did get a stupid flashback of things we've already seen. We're propelling towards something. The next death will definitely steer us towards who is on and who isn't on the right path.
The right path. I like it. It's very like righteous. Awesome. All right, guys. Well, thank you. Do what I can. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll be back next week with episode 7. We've only got 2 episodes left. And until then, hopefully Jordan's internet will be better. Hey.
The shade.
Bye.
The shade of it all.